Welcome to Her Remarkable History. Remember, to support our channel, please subscribe. Maria De Salinas, the loyal lady of Catherine of Aragon. Within Tudor court, each of Henry VIII's queens had a number of close confidants and ladies-in-waiting who would care for the everyday needs of their queen. Many of these became very close friends of Henry's wives, and a number of them served a number of different queens. Some demonstrated utmost loyalty. For example, a number accompanied Anne Boleyn as she was sentenced to death and even stayed with her on the scaffold as she was beheaded. But others knew how to play the game of court, and others would cross their mistresses to get themselves out of trouble. But one woman who stayed by the side of Henry VIII's shunned first wife was Maria De Salinas, who became the Baroness Willoughby De Eresby. She was a close confidant of Catherine of Aragon and saw her days before the first queen died. Maria de Salinas was born in 1490 and was named after her mother. The family were members of the royal household in Castile in Spain, and it's believed the family were in some way related to the royal family, and she did have a younger sister. Catherine of Aragon came to England initially to marry Henry VII's eldest son, Arthur, and a dowry was arranged and the two married in 1501. But the marriage was not a long-lasting one, as the following year Arthur was taken ill and died at Ludlow Castle. This left Catherine a widow at a very young age, and Catherine then after this became an ambassador to the Aragonese crown, being the first ever female ambassador in European history. But then negotiations occurred for Catherine to marry the heir apparent to the throne, Henry VII's other son, the man who would become Henry VIII. Maria de Salinas was not amongst the original Spanish women who accompanied Catherine of Aragon to England. She came a few months later after Catherine had become a widow, and was part of the second wave of Spanish ladies that came. Isabella of Spain sent them as a sign of support for the arrangement of Catherine to marry the other son, Henry. Following the death of Isabella of Spain, there were a number of years of hardship for the Spanish women sent over, but Maria stayed loyal to Catherine. She was incredibly devoted to Catherine and was by her side after she married Henry VIII in 1509. Maria was loved by Catherine, and the new Queen of England greatly trusted her, and Maria would never betray her trust and would always stay loyal to her. Maria told Catherine that she must stay loyal to the people of England now as their queen, which greatly upset her father. Ferdinand of Aragon expected Catherine to promote Spanish interests in Henry VIII's court, but Maria advised Catherine to maintain faith in her English subjects. This caused so many problems for Spain that some tried to remove Maria from court. But this could never happen. Her and Catherine were such close friends and nothing could separate them at all. In 1516, Maria married William Willoughby, the 11th Baron of Willoughby De Eresby, but she remained by the side of Catherine. As the years continued, the pair grew very close, and the pair shared their grief in the fact that they had lost children, and because of this they shared a sense of pain. Maria would be married for around 10 years before her husband died and she became a widow. She then got into a dispute with her brother-in-law Christopher Willoughby. But it was around this time that Henry VIII's eye began to wander, and he was trying his hardest to find a way out of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. Maria could not help her friend, as the prospects of going against the king was something she could not contend with. She did not try to talk to the king into remaining with Catherine, but stayed close with her and stayed by her side, comforting her, whilst he clearly at the court tried to impress other women. This would have made Catherine feel terrible, and it would be Maria and her other ladies-in-waiting that would help her deal with this rejection. Maria's daughter Catherine Willoughby became one of the most wealthy and prominent women in England, becoming the Duchess of Suffolk in 1533. But amongst this pride, Maria saw her best friend lose absolutely everything. Catherine of Aragon was shunned by Henry VIII and moved out of the royal apartments, with these given to Anne Boleyn. The king's great matter would force Henry VIII to split from Rome and the Pope, and he declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England, just so he could annul or divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Catherine of Aragon was the victim in the whole saga, and she was moved from the castle to another castle, virtually placed under house arrest, and she eventually ended up at Kimbolton Castle, and she had been banned from seeing her daughter Mary, the future Mary I, and she was cut off from her friends and isolated. She wrote a number of times to plead with her former husband, but Henry would not budge, and would only allow her more comfortable living quarters if she accepted Anne Boleyn as the rightful queen. Maria was forbidden to go near the Queen at Kimbolton, where she had been banished, and it was deemed treasonous to go anywhere near the house. If Maria had been caught visiting Catherine, she would have been sentenced to death. However, she risked her life to unite one final time with her close friend. Around Christmas of 1535, Maria heard news that her dear friend was dying, and she asked the king if she could visit, but Henry VIII would not allow it. He was stubborn, and despite Maria's daughter being married to Henry's best friend, he would not let Maria visit Catherine, his former wife. Henry wanted his wife to die alone, and he deemed this as punishment. However, Maria would risk her life to go and visit. She received word in the first week of 1536 that Catherine was on death's door and was dying. Maria, in her mid to late 40s, made the journey to Kimbolton Castle on horseback, riding 60 miles in a journey where she was thrown from her horse at one time. Maria was undeterred, and she continued, arriving at Kimbolton on the 6th of January. She was cold, muddy and tired, but she wished to see her friend. She used her accident to its advantage and used the stains on her dress to convince Catherine's jailer, Sir Edward Bedingfield, that she had been given permission and a paper from Henry VIII granting her permission to see her oldest friend. Bedingfield let her inside the house, and once inside Catherine's room, Maria locked the door and refused to come out again. Bedingfield could not drag a lady of the peerage out of the room, and Maria remained in the bedroom till the next day to see Catherine take her final breath and to hold her in her arms. Maria was incredibly courageous, and she risked her life to be with her friend in her final moments. Henry VIII could have thrown her in the Tower of London and had her beheaded for treason, but Maria was a woman driven to see her friend. She got away with the crimes too, probably due to the influence of her son-in-law Charles Brandon over the king. Her daughter Catherine Brandon went to Catherine of Aragon's funeral and attended her burial. Maria De Salinas died in the May of 1539, and there were rumours that she was buried at Peterborough Cathedral with Catherine, staying by the Queen's side in death. Interestingly, she would have the final laugh against her enemy Henry VIII. Her daughter, Catherine, married a man named Robert Bertie, who had a son called Perewin Bertie. This man was an ancestor of Lady Diana Spencer, who is the mother of Prince William and Prince Harry. As William will inherit the throne of England one day, it is Maria's direct descendants who will wear the crown, not those of Henry VIII. Maria De Salinas was an incredible woman who stayed by Catherine of Aragon's side during the tough times in her life. She remained strong and determined to see her friend, even when she was placed under house arrest, and risked her life in doing this. For all the other ladies in waiting at Tudor court, she was an ideal role model, and despite incurring the wrath of the king a number of times, she had enough high-profile links to the king to make sure she could get out of any trouble. She knew how to play court, but most of all, she knew how to look after the woman she was sent to look after, the Queen of England. Thank you for watching, and to support, please subscribe to Her Remarkable History. Thank you.